Gil Martin here, and welcome to the Daily Packers Post, where we give you in-depth daily coverage of your Green Bay Packers. We have new episodes dropping every Monday through Friday, so make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. Today, we're discussing the Green Bay Packers 2024 offseason free agent class. These are players that Brian Gutekunst signed during the offseason last year. So we're not talking about guys like Chris Brooks, who was signed in week 2, week 3, when injuries hit the running back room. And we're also not including players who the Packers re-signed. So A.J. Dillon, Tyler Davis, even if they would have played all season, even if they didn't miss time because of injuries, they're not eligible to be analyzed on this list because they were not new players that the Packers were bringing in. So the class was pretty small last year, but big bucks were spent, and it was an impactful class. We're going to grade each player right now. The first player on the list is running back Josh Jacobs. And, a lot of people were surprised when the Packers decided to part ways with Aaron Jones. Jones had been a great Packer for 7 seasons. He was very respected in the locker room, and everyone expected, okay, Aaron Jones will take a pay cut and he'll be back in Green Bay. Well, they couldn't work out a pay cut. It would have been the second straight year that Jones would have had to have taken a pay cut to stay with the Packers. He wasn't willing to do it, and so Gutekunst goes out and adds Josh Jacobs. He becomes the number 1 running back, and to say it worked out really well for both player and team may be an understatement. Jacobs ends up with 1,329 yards on 301 carries. He ran for 15 touchdowns and caught 36 passes for 342 yards and 1 more touchdown. And the fact is that he became the heart and soul, the catalyst, the engine that made the Packers offense go. And by the end of the season, I think he was really the key component to the Green Bay attack. And, he actually scored at least 1 rushing touchdown in the final 8 games of the 2024 regular season. That broke a record set all the way back in 1960 by Hall of Fame running back Paul Hornung. You're in good company when you start comparing him to the Hall of Famers. The best thing that Jacobs does, his strength, is running between the tackles. He's not a speed demon. He is not usually a threat to go, 70, 80 yards on a play, but he can run between the tackles and make people miss. So if it looks like he should get 2 yards, he gets 5. If it looks like he should get 5 yards, he'll get 9 or 12. And those extra yards, the ability to break tackles, make people miss, pick up yards where it doesn't appear that there are yards there to be picked up, that really adds up over the course of the season. And the other great thing about Jacobs, in addition to the fact that he was 3 years younger than Aaron Jones, is that he is capable of being your bell cow back, the guy who you give the ball to. With Aaron Jones, you wanted to pace him. You wanted him to get 15, 18 touches, whether that was with the running game or as a receiver. Well, with Josh Jacobs, you can give him the ball 20, 25 times a game, and he is bigger and built to take more of use, more carries, more touches. And again, that makes a difference over the course of a season. Jacobs is 27 years old. He should have a few more years left before he starts to slow down, and we expect him to be running back 1, if he's healthy, again in 2025. Overall, you got to give Josh Jacobs an A for his season last year. Then the second free agent that we are going to talk about is offensive tackle Andre Dillard. And Dillard was a bit of a disappointment. I mean, look, he was signed because the Packers wanted an experienced swing tackle. And, it seems every year Brian Gutekunst brings in a guy who is a veteran, who has experience, who they hope they don't have to play. But if he does play, they want a guy they could just plug in. And Dillard is the latest in that long line of guys who they brought in. He's a former first round pick of the Eagles, but he never really took those physical tools that made him a first round pick and put them all together to realize his potential as a starting left tackle. So he's brought in his insurance policy, and he wasn't needed. Neither of the Packers' two offensive tackles missed time this year. Zach Tom playing every game, as did Rasheed Walker on the left side. So Dillard gets into 10 games, but only sees 13 snaps on offense over the course of the entire season. And he only played 50 snaps on special teams. And it was a little bit of a surprise to some observers that Dillard even made the team, because in training camp and in the preseason, he really struggled. But they wanted the experience, the veteran guy. They didn't want to rely on, Kadeem Telford or, rookie Jordan Morgan, who ended up really moving to guard. They wanted a veteran available. Dillard made the team. He was on a one-year deal. I don't think he's back next year. He's going to turn 30 in October. Just did not seem to be someone you could rely on in a bigger role. Now, in his defense, we never got to see him very much, but when we did see him in the preseason and in the limited number of reps during the regular season, I just think the Packers can do better. He's an unrestricted free agent. I give Dillard a C- for his contributions over the 2024 campaign. And then the third and final free agent signing that the Packers made last offseason was safety Xavier McKinney. Now, he was brought in to revamp the weakest position really on the Green Bay defense in 2023. And boy, did he ever hit the mark. The former New York Giants star had an interception in each of his first 5 games with the Packers. And after that, it was like, the interception slowed down largely in part because opposing quarterbacks didn't want to throw anywhere near Xavier McKinney. And when you have a safety who opposing coaches and quarterbacks have to account for on every play, that is a weapon on defense. And the other thing I think that both Jacobs and McKinney brought to the Packers, 2 things. Leadership. These guys did help mentor some of the younger players at their position. And then a hunger to win. McKinney had been on the New York Giants. They struggled mightily during his 4 seasons in New York. Jacobs had been with the Las Vegas Raiders. They do not have a winning tradition during at least his time there. I mean, you want to go back to the 70s and 80s, yeah, but not right now. So under all of the circumstances, these guys were hungry to win, and that was contagious. McKinney ends up as both a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro. He had 8 interceptions, broke up 11 passes, 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery, and just played really, really outstanding football. He's 26, won't turn 27 until August. He's in the prime of his career, and I fully expect that the Packers will get more productive seasons from Xavier McKinney. I give McKinney, just like Jacobs, a really solid A grade for his contributions to the 2024 Packers. Now, what will we see this offseason from Brian Gutekunst? The Packers do have a lot of cap space to play with, and they can reportedly free up to 50, 55 million more in cap space if they just restructure some existing contracts and turn, performance bonuses into signing bonuses and what have you. But obviously those bills do come due down the road. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Brian Gutekunst adds important free agents, whether it's at wide receiver, edge rusher, interior defensive line, cornerback, or whether he relies exclusively on the draft or trades to add players at that position. I'm Gil Martin. I want to thank you for watching the Daily Packers Post. Don't forget to check out our website at thepackerspost.com for daily in-depth articles about your Green Bay Packers. Have a great day, everybody. And of course, go Pack Go.